Just check and make sure a few of these have in fact started up. It looks like we're just getting started on WaveTalkers. Come on. Let's get that screen up there.
Everybody, while Chris is working on that, we need you to make sure you have the latest version of Winlink and the standard templates pack. The latest version was pushed out last week, Wednesday and Thursday. It is 1.5.43. You'll see that in the upper left-hand corner of your Winlink Express program. If it is not 1.5.43, close it and reopen it and allow it to update. There is a new standard templates forms pack also that will update at the same time.
Looks like I had Vimeo gave me a little grief, so give me 1 second here. Let me get that back running live again.
And we will ask you to do a Winlink Express check-in. Dave, the name of that is sort of inconsistent in the program right now, too. It's just called check-in, and that's under the general category in your templates and forms. Under the general category, Winlink check-in. I think you all know what we're talking about on
I think we did that as the homework for the first class.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like it is live now.
And forms.
And there we go.
Under the general category, Winlink check-in. I think you all know what we're talking about.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining us here, both live inside of the Zoom and live on WaveTalkers, live on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, as well as our Facebook page. I'm Chris Mattia, W6AH. I have with me my esteemed colleagues, David, KK6DA, Dave, W0DHG, Dan, NR6V, and Orv, W6BI. And today we're going to talk about various ways of creating custom paths within Winlink. So let me switch over to my slides here in the background. I'll move myself down into the corner, maybe move my microphone out of the way so it doesn't look quite so awkward.
It looks strange.
Maybe we'll take the crab off. There we go. Okay, so there we go.
It falls
Got the
off.
slides up, and let's switch over to the right keyboard so I can advance the slides for the first thing. So the first thing we want everybody to do is we want you to check in via Winlink, but we need you to first make sure that you're running the latest version of Winlink. So the latest version of Winlink, it was just released. A new version was just pushed out earlier this past week. And so the new version should be 1.5.43. And the latest version of the forms is 1.0.173. I'm going to switch over to that in just a second so you can see. And then we're also going to go and use a website called What 3 Words, if you're not familiar with it. So
hey Chris,
yeah.
If I want to update from the version I have, how do I do that?
Oh, let me show you. Let me show you how to do that. So here's the PC, and if you notice in the top left of your Winlink application, it'll say the version of Winlink that you have. So I'm currently running version 1.5.43. And if you're still running 1.5.42, just go ahead and quit Winlink. Let me move this stuff out of the way. Where is it? I'll go back down to my start menu and come up here. I'll reopen Winlink Express. And if the demo gods are with you, Winlink should automatically check to see if a new version is available and say, hey, do you want to download it? You just say yes, go ahead and download it, do the install. And as soon as it finishes installing, it will automatically do the install of the forms. It'll ask you, do you want to update the forms? Yes, update the forms. You should have forms version 1.0.173. Those are the two versions. Now, when you get the latest version of Winlink, up and running. What we want you to do today is we want you to check in right now. We want you to send that check in to all 4 of us. And here's what we want you to do. So click on the send new message. You're going to click the little select template. You're going to go into your standard templates. Notice your standard template should say 1.0.173. That is the latest version of the templates. And we're going to go down here into the general forms. And we've already seen this before, Winlink checkin.txt. Just go ahead and double click that. And this is a brand new version of this form. It's got some new features that were just added this week, which is very exciting. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say this is, we'll say this is an exercise. You can choose how you're going to do this. I'm going to do this via VHF. I'm going to send my check-in via Vara FM, and I'm going to send it to all 4 of us. I'm going to send it to W6. Oops, I got to make sure my keyboard is set to the right thing. W6AH, semicolon, KK6DA, semicolon, space W0DHG, semicolon, and NR6V. Those are the 4 of us. What the heck? Let's add Orv in there as well. W6BI.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
This version doesn't seem to include the ability to send via the mesh, or am I missing it?
It may or may not allow send, or may or may not have it noted. Let's see. Oh, it does not. Put not applicable for now.
I'll do that.
We'll add that. Later on today, we're just going to do a demo of the Arden mesh. Call signs, initials of the site operator. Go ahead and put your call sign in there. I am also the sender. Down here, this is the new section here. This is the location. You can put in your current location right here. If you've got a GPS, it will automatically populate your lat LAN. But there is this thing called what 3 words location. And if you're not familiar with what 3 words, if you just go to open another browser window or another browser tab and go to what 3 words, the word what, the number 3, and then words.com, it'll bring you up a map. And what you want to do is you want to just zoom into your location. So I'm located over here in Southern California. I'm just going to zoom in down here. I'm not out in the Pacific Ocean right now, but I'm going to zoom a little farther down in here. I'm in Ventura County. And let's say I was down at the harbor where my boat is located. I lived on my boat for a number of years here. And I'm just going to keep zooming right down to where my boat is located. And I'm going to click right there. And what it's going to do is it's going to put a pin right there on the map for me. And it's going to come up with these what 3 words. So this is chop, chauffeur, founding. Kind of interesting. So what 3 words does is it's divided the entire world into a grid, and it's assigned 3 words to every, what is it, a 3 meter by 3 meter grid, I believe. So you're just going to copy that, what your 3 words are for what your location is, and then you'll go back into your check-in form and you can paste that right there.
Ooh.
And we'll hit the tab key and look at that. It automatically populates my lat LAN in here. Now, if you do not have the latest version of Winlink and you do not have the latest version of the forms, it's not going to populate your lat LAN. So you really need to make sure you've got that latest version in here. But as soon as you do that, it's going to populate your lat LAN in here and your grid information. You can go ahead and put in your home QTH. I'll just list that right there. And you can come down here and I'm going to say, send pizza.
Chris, does it work the other way? If you put in lat long, does it give you your what 3 words?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
Wow. Those guys in the Winlink.
And there's another thing too. If you do not put in lat long and you don't put in the MGRS or you don't put in what 3 words, after a few seconds, it will plop you in the middle of the grid square that you have entered in your Winlink settings. That's pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah. What 3 words is really getting popular. Los Angeles Fire Department is now using it. They get a lot of hiker rescues because, believe it or not, we have a lot of mountain and brush areas that people like to hike. And what they'll do when somebody calls and says, you know, I've gone over the handlebars on my mountain bike and I'm 200 feet below the trail, they'll send them a link on their phone by text. And all they do is click on the link and it will create the what 3 words for that 3 meter by 3 meter grid. So they know exactly where to find them. They're not looking in a general area. They know exactly where to find them. Very useful. You know, before you'd say, well, I'm at County USC Hospital. Well, that's a pretty big area. But with what 3 words, you can narrow it down to what entrance you're near. Very useful.
Alan VJD, we do see your message in chat. That's a malfunction. So hang around after we're done and we'll work through it.
So you're gonna submit the form, and I'm gonna go ahead and minimize my browser window here for a second. You can see that it's got all of our call signs populated in here, and everything looks set up, ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and post that to Outbox, and then to be kind to the network, I'm actually not gonna send this via VARA. I'm gonna send it via Telnet. Just because there's a good chance that there's a few of you out there who have just sent this in. So I will hit Open Telnet Start Session. And there we go. And it looks like only one other one was coming in at that time. So that's what we would like you guys to all do now. Go ahead and check in. If you can send it to all 5 of us. I'll bring the call signs back up on screen again in 1 second. Let me make sure I've got that up here. There we go. And I'll switch back over to here so you can see all of our call signs, and ORV is W6BI. Whiskey 6 Bravo India.
Holy moly. They're all coming in at
Here
the
they
same
come,
time.
here they
Okay,
come.
here they come.
Perfect. So while that's going on, one more note about what 3 words, because a lot of there's definitely going to be some questions about this, and the most common one is, hey, what happens if the internet is down? And there is an app you can install on your mobile device, and you can tell it to cache your maps for what 3 words. So you can have a pretty good regional area that all of that information will come into in your phone. So you can still access it and plug in that what 3 words. Okay.
Yeah, we also understand that they're working on a database that'll have the 3 words and all of the locations available, and that's a future enhancement.
So let's kind of move forward a little bit. Actually, before we do this, while we still have propagation, we wanted to close a loop from last week, and that was a demo of sending via VARA HF. And I believe, David, KK6DA, are you set up to be able to do that demo?
Yeah, Chris, if you want to bring up that spotlight, my second Zoom window, you should
give me 1 second.
It would be helpful if I share it too, wouldn't it?
You got to turn the camera on that.
He's got to share a screen.
You got to share your screen. You just share the screen on that one. And I will spotlight you. Spotlight for everyone. I'll take me away. There we go. And as soon as you share your screen, we should be good to go. Still working on it.
Yes, I am having difficulty in finding that function.
Very well.
It is the other one. Do you want to try yours?
You gotta log. Are you logged into the Zoom on that computer, David?
Yeah,
it should be, right? So it's not this computer.
Yeah, you got to log into the Zoom.
He is. He's logged in. You should be able to. You should have share screen down at the bottom. Dave, why don't you work with him on that? I'll move forward with the demo on the Digipeating stuff. So let me bring
Yep, go
that
for it.
back up. You guys can do that kind of offline a little bit. All right, so here's our normal diagram that we've been looking at all along, literally since week 1. This is week 4 of the class. We should all be pretty familiar with this basic setup. And today, what we're going to focus on is last week we showed how to actually send via RF. So we focused on that link between the blue link between Winlink, your computer, and your radio, and that first RMS gateway. But what happens if that first RMS gateway is inside of the disaster zone that happens and it is not connected to the internet? What you need to do in that case is you need to do something called digipeating. You need to tell Winlink how you want Winlink to route your traffic. You have that control with Winlink, and it's really pretty cool as to how this works. Essentially, that gateway that you were sending through previously, if it's still up, or some other user, some other Winlink user, you're going to work with them as if they are a regular station, and you're going to pass traffic through their computer, through their RF connection, and hop over to another RMS gateway. So what this looks like is you have the gateway that you're going to ultimately send your traffic from. That is going to be the first box that you'll fill out. We're going to go in and show this. And then there's this little thing that's going to say via and then station through. And you'll notice that there's a station designation down here. And I've got these little -10 and -4. Now, those are going to be populated at the end of the call sign because we're going to set up basically our own custom routing in order to do this digipeating thing. Now, what the heck am I talking about -10 and -4? Well, this really comes from the world of APRS. And at the end of a call sign in APRS, there are all of these -1, -2 station designations that you can indicate over APRS what kind of station you are, whether or not your general station is generally -0, and so usually the 0 gets clipped off. But then slots 1 through 4 are designated within APRS as generic additional stations. Number 5 is other networks, and so forth. There's a lot of different options here. But the two that we're usually most interested in is the station through, which is another generic station addition. And this is mostly by convention. So in your particular area, you may need to find out from the group that you're, the hams in your area, if they're following the same sequence. Gateways within APRS are generally tagged as -10 or -10 at the end. And so those are the two that we're generally going to use. That's what we use here in Southern California. We have a bunch of gateways in the Los Angeles area, and they've actually gone to having -10, -11, or -12. And we'll show you where those show up. But for the most part, all of your stations, at least the ones that we use here in Southern California, the station itself gets tagged as -4. So that information is what's getting populated here in the digipeating call sign information. So with that, let me switch back over to Winlink, and I want to show you what this looks like a little bit. So here we are back inside of my Winlink, and I'm going to go ahead and create, actually, let me check my mail because I'm pretty sure I just got a whole pile of these that maybe came in. Look at that, people checking in.
Yeah, 27.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. We're going to do a demo with that information here in just a few minutes. Wow, look at it all go. Perfect. And wait, my disconnect and disconnect. Good. There we go. So inside of Winlink, when this works, by the way, for both Packet Winlink and for Vara FM. So I'm going to use Vara FM. going to go ahead and click on that. Oh, let me make a quick test message. I'm going to make a quick test message. I'm going to send it to KK6DA, and I'm going to say send pizza, send more pizza, and post that to the outbox. All right. So when I open the session up here, this is what we've been seeing already. So we've got our connections. It says direct, and I'm going through a gateway W6RH. If you recall, when we go into channel select and we have all of the call signs, here's W6RH, and notice the -10 at the end. That's his gateway, and that's the designation. And remember that -10. Notice right below him, W6BI, that's Orv, who's also on the call with us. He's got a gateway here, and he's also a -10. It tells us our frequency, it tells us our channel width. Both of these are wide, the grid square that they're located, whether or not they're public or EmComm, distance away, and bearing. So that's the information if I was going to send this message direct through W6RH. I've got that selected, and oh, oops, I gotta double click it. There we go, double click, and it populates that information. So that's how we would directly send. But notice there's this little via, and it's all grayed out over here. But let's say W6RH is inside of the disaster zone. He doesn't have an internet connection. And I know that W0DHG, he's just down the hill. He's not too far. How do I know that? I know that because if I go back to winlink.org and I click on tools right here, you click on tools, what it does is it brings you up a map of the Winlink system. Now, I'm going to be sending via VARA FM. So I'm going to click VARA FM and just going to identify all of the gateways for you right here. Now, I can go ahead and dial in. I'm just going to zoom here into Southern California. And here's the map of Southern California. And this is only the VARA stations. Now, I'm located basically right here underneath of this 126 sign. I'm roughly about right there. And notice there is just dead zone right here. There's not a lot of VARA stations, but W6RH is right here. Orv is located, I think you're right here. Yeah, there's Orv right there. And W0DHG is here. And I believe this is NR6V. So we're scattered out. I drove right past here. It took me about an hour to get down this far. So it's a good 60 miles or so for me to get down there. So I'm going to send this message up here through W6RH, and I want to send it out of David W0DHG's gateway right there. So let me minimize this. And to do that, instead of having your connection say direct inside of the VARA FM, you click the drop down here and you change it to Digipeater. Now, remember in the slide, the first blank here, this is the destination gateway. This is where you want your message to go out of. And it's no longer going to go out of W6RH. I want it to go out of W0DHG. And I'm going to send it out of his gateway, which is -10. Now, because I'm sending this through W6RH and I'm going to send it through his station, I'm going to put his station's identification. So I'm going to do that as W6RH-4. So if the demo gods are with me, this message is going to go out of W0DHG, but it's going to go through, it's going to go via W6RH. So I'm going to first make sure my radio is on, and I'm going to listen for a second to make sure there's no traffic. We can see my VARA window over here, and there's no traffic going on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and send the message, and let's see what happens. So there we go. It's dropped me down to narrow. You can see some of the information down here at the bottom, which is really helpful. Here you can see at the bottom of my VARA window, W6RH is going through W6RH-4, going to W0DHG-10. And you can see my signal is pretty low. And that's because we've got kind of a weak signal between W6RH and W6DHG because there's the Santa Monica Mountains in between the two of them. They've got just enough of a path to be able to get that signal through. And there we go. It's going pretty slow, but it's working. It's getting the message through.
Still only almost 600 BPS.
There it is. It's sending. Oh, and there's more WinLink messages coming in. That's going to be fun. And what's also interesting is notice that I've got sound modem still running in the background. One of the nice things about using a signal link and using sound modem and using VARA FM is that the two do not conflict with each other. So you can see the traffic, you can see the waterfall through your sound modem, and you can see what traffic is going through. And then you can also see the traffic going through the VARA, and you can see all of your settings that you've got going on in here. So that's pretty cool. Now we're checking a whole bunch of email coming through here all at one time. And so I'm just going to go ahead and let this complete here. Remember, one of the things that we talked about was the green line here inside of your WinLink session. So initially, when I was sending my message out, the green line was going from left to right. Now the green line, as I'm downloading messages, it's going from right to left. And that traffic is coming in right over there. There we are. Dave, how's your demo over there going with HF?
Talking to me, Chris?
Yeah.
I am ready to go. I had lost Zoom on my second computer, so if you want to transition into that, we can give it a shot.
Yeah, because this is clearly going to take a minute or two, and so rather than sitting and watching, going through a Digipeating, downloading all of these messages, that's a little fun. But you can see how that works. Actually, while we'll go ahead and let's do the HF demo real quick, and then we'll come back to some more Digipeating information. So go ahead and share your screen whenever you're ready. And I will unpin myself when you do.
You should see my screen.
I do see your screen.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, I'm going to remove my spotlight, and we will spotlight.
And let's bring up WinLink.
David, your audio is very low.
We got to talk into the microphone, David.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move the mic over here. There
Perfect.
we go. All right. Just be a little patient. And there's VARA. Okay, we had pre-selected a gateway, an HF gateway in Washington State, I believe it is. And it was W7FLO. And let's give it a shot, see if it works. Well, oh, there we go. We're connected.
All right.
Hey, David, could you click on the VARA HF window to see the connection there? Perfect. And you can see on the bottom there connecting, and it goes through a number of different steps.
Yeah, I did earlier. I did as a backup to David. I set up mine and connected to the Las Vegas KO0000 gateway in Las Vegas, and it took 12 tries before he woke up and saw me. So sometimes it does take a lot of attempts before you connect.
Dan, if you're set up, you want to try that? You want to try the Las Vegas gateway?
Yeah. Let me.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and Dan, over to you. Just make sure you've downloaded these messages by Telnet.
Yeah, no
for-
kidding.
Yeah, we forget that when we're doing these demos, there may be 40 messages or 50 or 60 coming through.
You know,
And-
when we did the early demo, in the Winlink setup screen, you have the option to check that box to say,
Right.
show me the list of mail that's in the CMS, so that you can pick the ones you want to download. And it's a good reason to do
Learning
that.
lesson as to why I need to go back and do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Dan.
All right, are you seeing my WinLink HF screen?
Yep.
Yeah,
looks
you're
great.
good.
Okay, let's give her a try.
KO0000. Interesting call.
All right, looks like it is restarted.
Can you drag that little? Yeah, there you go.
Like I said, this morning earlier, it took 12 tries before he connected. Hopefully that's where we're headed this time.
Yeah, an hour ago we had really good propagation on 20 meters. It's a little less than that now.
We're just not having any good luck here.
Trying to do this on a live show is turning out to be tricky.
All right,
Yeah.
let's try one that has been a little more reliable for me. And because I have cat control with my Xiegu G90, all I have to do is change it. The channel selection automatically changes the radio. So let's try AJ7C, who is in Culver City. Not that far from me, but he's been pretty reliable. Really, folks, this does usually work.
Well, we'll have to
Yeah,
make a
I
video and
connected-
post it on
We will.
WaveTalkers.
We'll make
Yeah.
a video and post it up there.
Yeah, it does work.
So it looks like, let me add the spot.
And we should say, in a recent exercise that we did in Southern California with Aries LAX, we had one station set up to send our traffic, our Winlink traffic, out of area. And in the course of a 6 to 7 hour exercise, he passed almost 100 messages, 98 messages out of area and then back. The reason we do this is because if we have, a catastrophic internet failure in Southern California, to send it to Las Vegas or San Francisco or Seattle would be our path to get that communication out.
And some gateways, the hybrid gateways, do that automatically.
Right.
If the internet's down, my gateway, if the internet is down, it stores the messages that come in and either holds them for somebody to log into my gateway and pick them up themselves, or it will hold them until the internet comes back, and then it will send them on to the message server. So even W6BI, which is normally pretty reliable to me, is not connecting. So
All right. So
I'm afraid that's an abject failure, guys.
all right. Not a problem. So let's go back over to it. It's completed now. Looks like I've downloaded 41 messages. Great job on the check-ins, everyone. That's absolutely wonderful. And I want to talk just a little bit more about this Digipeating stuff here. So let's say the disaster zone has been extended a little bit. Let's say the disaster zone now, W0DHG has lost his internet connection as well. But we know that NR6V We know Dan still has a connection. So what we would do in that case, I would no longer digipeat directly to W0DHG. I'm going to copy this. I do Command Control C. I'm going to paste it over here. And I'm going to change him to 4 because we're going to go through his station, not through his gateway. And now I'm going to change the destination gateway here to NR6V. And now if I were to send this, it would go first to W6RH. It would then digipeat over to W0DHG, and then W0DHG station would pass that traffic on to NR6V. Now, knowing that we could end up with a whole bunch more check-in forms, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to show it to you in a different way. And that is directly through the VARA FM interface itself. Now, when you go into VARA, you want to click here on settings, and to make sure that digipeating is set up correctly for VARA, what you're going to do is you're going to click on VARA setup. And we've seen this screen before. Here are your TCP/IP ports. These are the ones that need to match inside of your settings inside of Winlink. Here's your system for VARA FM. I'm going to have mine set to wide, and it'll automatically drop down to narrow if the narrow is all it works, but we're going to set this to wide. And then right here, this is what you want to do. You want to add in for Digipeater, you want to add in your call sign -4 because that's your local station. So I've added W6AH-4. I've got my retries set to only 2 because I don't want to have to sit and tie up the frequency. And then I have my VARA call sign and my registered license. I believe in order to digipeat, you do have to have the license key in order to make this work. So we'll go ahead and hit close. Now to test the digipeating, we're going to come up here. I'm going to go to settings and go down to my sound card settings. And remember, this is where we were checking all of our tune settings here. So let's start off with just a simple ping. I'm going to hit ping. And I'm going to bring this over here to the side. And first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ping W6RH-4 because I know he's there. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the ping connection. Now, if you watch my VU meter over here, you can see that it's roughly, its audio input is parked right around here. This is right around -13, -14. That's ideally where you want to be. Notice I've got a pretty good connection here to W6RH-4. Now,
Hey, Chris, try me. W6BI-4.
Let me try you.
We haven't tried that yet, have we?
BI-4. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm pretty sure I don't have a path to you because we have a little thing called a mountain right in between.
Yeah, you'd have to go through Rob.
I'd have to go through Rob. So let's see if we can do that. So I'm still want to try and connect to W6BI, but let me go through W6RH-4 and let's see if now I can get a connection over to Orv. I'm going to hit that.
You need to change mine to -10.
Oh, yeah. Good
I think.
Oh, look, there we go. So I can see your station, so I can now digipeat through you. But if I want to go to your gateway, you're right. I got to change you. So let's say I want to go to your gateway. I'm going to go to -10, and I will hit that. And let's see if we get a connection. And there we go. We've got a connection. Now let's go that long chain. Let's say W0DHG and WRH are both in the disaster zone. So I want to go to NR6V-10. I want to go to Dan's gateway. I'm going to go first to W6RH, and now I want to go to W0DHG-4. I'm going to go through his station, and let's see if we can get a connection all the way down into the San Fernando Valley. And there we go. It's not a great signal, but that message got through.
Sub in Dan's gateway at the end.
Sub in Dan's gateway?
Yeah, because
I don't think W6RH can get to Dan.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, he's too far. So I've got to go through you. Or I can go through Orv.
No, through Orv. I'm sorry, through Orv's. Yeah.
N6B or M
W6
BI-4. And we'll get over that way. And look at that. You can see in VARA, you can see the signal going.
Cool. That's a good
4.1.
connection.
It's
That's
even better connection.
It's an even better connection. So what this really means is that in a disaster or during a drill, you have the ability to send traffic via all of these different ways. And this can be all coordinated on a voice frequency. For instance, let's say net control to W0 DHG. Do you have any traffic? You would say yes, and he would go ahead and send his traffic, and he could route all of that traffic however he needs to in order to get it to the various stations. So
really every client station should be set up to be a digipeater, because in a disaster, we're going to want to do that. Plus, you may want to consider building some digipeating stations that you can take and chain to a pole at a good location and create paths that may not exist otherwise. It's pretty simple to set one of these up.
So with that, we've shown that we can demonstrate of getting that traffic around, and we can give it all the way over to Orv. Let's switch gears now a little bit, and let's invite Orv up to screen. Orv, are you ready to do your demo?
Sure. I have the little presentation, or we can just do a demo.
No, do your presentation. So let me go ahead and turn your camera on. There you go. Let's make sure you're pinned to everyone, and go ahead and share your screen. So Orv Beach is Mr. Arden Mesh.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You must address him as Ambassador Beach.
Ambassador.
Oh, I'm right. That's right. I forgot Ambassador Beach.
Yeah. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh, good. Miracle of miracles. Anyway, I've been messing around with Mesh for half a decade now. So anyway, for those of you who aren't real familiar with mesh networking, it's an IP network over modified wireless radios with custom software. It's gotten quite popular, especially in the metro areas. There's some mapping software that's out there, and I thought I'd just throw a few quick maps at you so you let you know what's going on out there. This is Washington. They've only been up a few months. Oregon's coming along real nicely. If you're interested in the colors, orange is 5 gig. This is a memory test. Purple is 2 gig, blue is 3 gig, and the gray ones are no gig because there's a need for that too. Anyway, Yakima, Washington, he's doing a real good job. Hawaiian Islands, they come up about a year ago. All of those inter-island links are currently internet tunnels. They're working on getting them replaced with RF links. San Francisco Wireless Emergency Mesh, they're doing a great job of pushing it out. It kind of exploded in an unplanned manner, and now they're working at putting together a real backbone so they can move a lot of traffic. And here's kind of the big daddy on the West Coast. We have some ardent developers in Southern California, so we kind of got a head start. Last time I counted, there were about 425 stations on this map here. That's both ground stations and like backbone levels on hilltops or mountaintops. So anyway, there's 2 ways of moving Winlink traffic over the ham radio network. One of them is sending to a post office and on the mesh network, and another is point-to-point between 2 Winlink stations that are sitting on the mesh network. I don't have anything to demo or on my presentation about point-to-point, but it's in the document, and I think we're going to play around with it some. So anyway, things you need to get started. You already have a connection to the mesh network in your shack, and your Winlink computer has an IP address from the mesh network. There is a slight problem with that. The mesh network is hardwired to use the 10.0.0.0 network, can't be changed. And your home network is normally 192.168. something. So how do you fix that? You get a Microtip HAP AC Lite router. It's a little 5-port router. Here it is, costs, I don't know, 50 or 60 bucks. Loaded with the Arden software, this is what it'll do for you. in the center there, port 5 goes up to your outside RF node that's your link to the RF network. Also supplies PoE power up to the node, so you don't have any of those achy external PoE injectors. Down at the bottom, if you're wired to your home network, it goes out port 1, or you can use one of the 2 internal radios of the HAP AC Lite to be a wireless access client and connect wirelessly to your home network. And that way, anything on ports 2, 3, or 4 will get an IP address from the little HAP Arden router there, and will have connectivity not only to the RF network, but the home internet network. And this is what you need for your Winlink program to successfully work on the mesh network. If you're not familiar, here's some examples of guys' setups at their home stations. Dan has something like this. In fact, all the guys do. If you're an HOA network, this is your solution. Nobody will notice that satellite TV's not pointing at a synchronous satellite. We have a couple guys using these. That LDF5 at the feed point there, I think, is 36 or 37 bucks. And you get a combination of the two, you get about 23 dBi gain. So what's up on the mountaintop you talk to? Here's a small site in North Orange County, 3 sector antennas. Here's a medium-sized site. This is on the border between LA and Ventura County. This is also a medium-sized site in spite of the size. The darn radio system has a site on Verdugo Peak, above Burbank, California. And 2 of those poles hold our networking stuff. The rest is all darn gear. And this is a large site. This is a commercial site in Orange County, California. One of the senior Arden developers lives very close by, and the site is ham friendly, so he's had time to develop this. So I took this graphic off of the Winlink site. It hasn't been upgraded in a while. WinMore has been deprecated on HF. RDOP is still there, but VARA is coming into favor. VARA HF. Just FYI, I saw a document where they did testing of the HF protocols through a like an ionosphere simulator. It simulated various noise levels, various levels of fading and such. And under a lot of the conditions, the VARA HF software modem did as well as or better than Pactor 4 even. So if you're on a budget and a Pactor box is out of your reach, VARA HF is a very cost-effective solution. And down at the local level, I put in VARA there along with Packet on VHF and UHF. And that's where the ham radio networking goes in at that level. You've seen this before. It's not a big deal. I won't dwell on it, but because mesh networking adds another route into the mix, it just adds a little bit to the complexity. So you've seen this. This is the kind of the process flow. You've seen this for Packet and HF and stuff like that. But I wanted to point out, I connected to this post office K6PVR-SVR. Total connect time was 10 seconds down here. Time to transfer a 22 kbyte message was 3 seconds. So you can see that it moves traffic like crazy. And by the way, I did some looking. That works out for this one particular message. And by the way, this post office on the mesh network is 3 hops away. 5 gig, wired link, and another 5 gig, I think. But the nice thing about mesh is you don't have to define the routing because it's an IP protocol with routing on top of it. Your station knows how to get to the other end. But I was noticing it took 3 seconds to move 22 kbytes. I worked that out, and that's around 220 kilobits per second. Whoa. That's good, but that's not anywhere near what the mesh network would carry. I've tested it out here, and it's, I don't know, between 5 and 7 megabits per second. So it looks like the bottleneck in throughput here is Winlink itself. Mine is on a slower computer. That might have something to do with it, but certainly not going to hold up your traffic passing. And that's the end of my demo. Let me close that. Guys, how visible is that? Let me make it a little
Yeah.
bigger.
Pretty good. It could be bigger,
Yeah, well,
There you go. That's better.
but we can
It's-
see it.
okay. It's in a VM, and this is a very busy computer.
Yeah.
That looks really good, Orv.
Okay, good. So how do we set up? Let me show you how you set up. Okay. When you, oh, let me close this here. So the session you want to open up when you have a want to send a mesh network, it's telnet to a post office. And you can see the one I currently have selected is AJ6GZ. He's in Redlands. It's 90 air miles southeast of here, and it's 120 network miles. And I have it set up to auto connect every half hour. You can see that. But if you don't know what's in your area, here's how you do it. That is to say, which post office is in your area. And by the way they advertise it is the service name they advertise can be either Winlink or post office, or in both. And Winlink was modified a while back to recognize those and automatically list them. So you go add server, and if you don't know what it is, and by the way, this isn't really important here what it's called, you update your Arden mesh node list. And it will go to your local node, which presumably has a connection to the network, and it's going to look for these two strings out on the network, and it will list every one of them, every node it finds that is advertising this. So if you go and update mesh nodes, it says, I found 23 services advertised. Exit the screen, exit this one, and here are all the ones that are pulling down. And by the way, frequently you'll find mesh services that are advertised that are no longer out on the network. People don't do as good a job of maintaining them as they should. And it's not just Winlink post offices. It would be web servers, cameras, stuff like that. So if you find one that doesn't work, just pick another one, and try and pick the ones that are obviously close by to you. And if he happens not to have an internet connection, move out to one a little farther. You'll notice there's some Hawaiian stations here. And I think I even saw, where did I see it? Well, anyway, oh yeah, here you go. IR2, Italian. So somehow he's sneaking through a internet link someplace. So what you do is you pull down the one you want, like I'm not even going to try that one. Like K1BLU, I'll save him. So now I have 3 of them on there. Well, 4 actually. Let's see if K1BLU is on the air, and you can just start and see if he connects. And see, he is not connecting. So he has turned off his Winlink server or something. So I'll just go back to my good old reliable and test Ian's. Let me stop that, start that. Oh, come on. There you go. Now we can try this one. Done. Oh, look, I have 2 more express check-ins. Grass Valley and Kema, Texas. So that's it in a nutshell. If you've satisfied the prerequisites and your Winlink computer is sitting on the mesh network, you can just configure it that way. And this procedure is outlined in the document I sent to Chris, so it should be available. How's that, guys? Good enough?
And I think, Chris, that would be a perfect breakout video that we could rework a bit, Orv, and post that too.
Absolutely.
Happy to do it.
Absolutely. So that is already located up on WaveTalkers. If I go over to, I'll go ahead and bring that up real quick. Let me do Command T. Nope, I want to go there. Gotta make sure I have the right keyboard selected. Command T. Let's go over to wavetalkers.com. Look at that. It's us there. Yay.
Wow.
I'm going to go to WinLink resources. And if we scroll down on the page, there is the mesh link here. And I will be posting that right after this session. It's going to be located right there, is going to be the document from Orv with that information. And we'll also put a video there. So with that, let's go back over to KK60A, because we had a lot of people check in. And David, do you think you might be able to shed some light on who is actually checked in? Can you?
Absolutely. Let's share my screen. Okay, you see my WinLink screen?
We do, and
Excellent.
we're going to
Very
send the CSV to everybody in just a second.
And I'm just going to make sure that there isn't somebody who has just sent their WinLink check-in. Nope, we appear to be good. And here are all of your check-ins that you have sent. Look for your call letters. Let's see. Let's go back to somebody was keeping count. There's certainly more than 40.
Yeah, I've got about 43 that have come in.
Okay, there we go. Now, this is the new function that was added by the WinLink development team in 1.5.43. We're getting into maps, and I want you to put your emergency communication hats on, because this is truly impressive stuff. Go to message, and this is new down here. Generate maps and a CSV file for forms. I'm going to click that. And here's what comes in. We have 48 check-ins, and it's scanning my inbox and says, okay, you've got 48 express check-ins. You can ask it for other things. There's spot rep, but we didn't do that today. Map is going to be Bing. And then I'm going to click display map. And how do you say this magically, Chris?
If the demo gods are with us.
All right. There's everyone who's checked in, a visual reference to everyone who's checked in. Look, we have 2 from Hawaii. Let's go to those. Here is WH6FQQ, sent it by Telnet. You can see his exact location, the message ID, and he happens to be 2,460 miles away from Los Angeles. Here's KH6UU. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum and look at the East Coast. KS6Z, KC2PGC. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and let's look at this cluster here. We'll do that. That's going to help. KJ7DOD. Here's one in my home state, W0ZZK. N0SFH. KD8CW. Now, why would that be valuable in an emergency situation? Let me zoom in just a little bit more here to Southern California, where we have lots of check-ins, of course. And bear with me. Let me move the map over here. Whoop, didn't want to do that. Where did we go?
We were in Mexico.
We went to Baja, which, by the way, we can hit a repeater down there, a gateway down there. Let's look at San Bernardino. Here's IRF. Here is PYD. Here's K6OLI. Oh, that was from the other day. And here's yours truly, and my latitude and longitude. So let's say I'm net control for this exercise. We can actually do several things with this. We could take a JPEG of this, save as a JPEG. We could pump that back out to everyone on this make-believe exercise. or we can actually create a comma separated value file and provide that kind of information. But above and beyond that, there is a comments category, as you can see, and you can provide all kinds of information in that comments category. So this is the beginning of using visual sources, and we have done that in Aries LAX with a pinpoint APRS, in which we will check in and we'll actually use color codes to represent the status of our hospitals. So that is one new function that the Winlink development team has added, and it's just pretty cool. You also have the ability to set filters if you want to flag status type. Say you're in an exercise in which you might be red for serious or bad or almost out of service, you could do that. Session type, you could take all telnet versus all VARA FM, session, band, et cetera, et cetera. It's a pretty cool new function. Once again, let me show you where that is located. Bear with me here just a second. So here's the inbox. We're going to ask this to scan the inbox by going to generate maps and CSV files for forms. It comes up with this display map. You've seen that. Now let's generate a CSV file. It's going to ask you where you want to put it. It's going to ask you for a date range, comma, or tab. I won't do it because it's going to be a little bit complex. But here is the map again. And that is a pretty cool new function and something that I'm certain the Winlink development team will continue to develop. Not only is it active for the Winlink Express check-in, it's also good for the spot rep report and a couple of others. And as time goes on, you will see them adding that to other forms, which gives you another capability in emergency communications.
Hey, David, could
Yeah.
you check your Winlink real quick one more time for me?
Okay. This is just
We'll see if the demo gods are with us.
okay.
Yes, go ahead and oh, that's not it. So it looks like it didn't go to you. I just tried to send out that CSV file to everybody on the list.
Shall we go back to you? You want to show us that?
Yeah, well, I just generated the list. So let me, yeah, I'm back to me. So what I did was I went up here to messages and I did the same thing, generate maps and CSV forms. It's the express check-in. Now, keep in mind, when we did this, we used the check-in form. We used the Winlink check-in form. And this is a little incongruency here right now because it says select form express check-in because that's the name of the form once you open it. But
Hey, Chris, hold on a second. Hey,
Hey,
David, can you stop your screen share? Because you're still highlight.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Here, I can stop his screen share.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
There we go. Sorry. So let me go back to this. I'm going to open up a new message because I want to point this out one more time. So we're going to go to select template. The template we used was standard templates. It was in the general forms, and we used the Winlink check-in template. Now, this mapping feature is working for the Winlink check-in. It's not working for checkout yet. It's working for check-in. It's working for, I believe,
Shares. Spot rep
all the
2.
shares, the spot rep 2.
Yep.
The spot rep 2 form.
And
I
weather.
believe it is also working for the weather form. So it's working for the hurricane report, local weather report, and severe weather report. It's working for those forms. So Winlink check-in, shares spot rep, and the 3 weather forms. So those are the ones that it's currently working for. There's 5 of them. I'll go ahead and close these. Then if we go up to messages and just generate maps. And this is, Winlink is going to automatically detect if you have gotten one of these forms. So there's that express check-in. It's really the check-in form. I've gotten 45 of them. You can change your map provider if you want. So David was using Bing. I've got mine selected to Google, and you can control how this is going to work, and I'll display the map. Again, mine is displaying inside of a Google map, and I can zoom out on that, and I am seeing all of the stations all across the US.
Isn't that cool?
That's pretty awesome.
Scroll back a little bit more, Chris.
Zoom in.
Oh, no, scroll back.
Scroll.
Show the whole world, because there's actually one errant check-in that popped up.
Oh, look at that, in Iran.
And some of that has to do with the reason why it's a great idea to get a $13 GPS dongle, because it shows that station's in Glendora, and they just likely entered either their what 3 words wrong if they entered that, or there's a typo somewhere in their Latin long.
Yeah. There should be a minus.
It should be, yeah, that should be a minus. So we're in the we're in the Western hemisphere here. And so your longitude should be a minus.
Yeah.
Right,
Highlight
so
it again. Let's see what he's entered.
Display the map.
Yeah, just display the map and hover over that one again. And his Latin long should be
is positive. Yeah, it's positive 59 instead of negative 59.
Yeah, needs to be a negative 59. Okay, good lesson.
Yep. All right, so that's the map. But one of the things you can do is you can come down here and you can do generate CSV file, and you can just accept all of the defaults here. And I've browsed and I've saved mine out to this Winlink telnet or Winlink WaveTalkers.csv, and I've hit the generate CSV file, and it's actually saved out to my desktop already. So I'm going to close that. And I went ahead and I tried. I'm not sure. Maybe some of the folks in the chat can let us know if I'm seeing a couple of got it. And so what you do with that, so I've got mine out on my desktop, is if you check your Winlink messages, and you should get that message from me. You go up to messages and you go into generate maps and CSV files. You can import data from form. So you click that, and you're going to import a specific file. You're going to need to save that attachment out to your desktop, but I'm going to go ahead and browse. And let's see, out to the desktop, I'm looking for all files, CSV, use file name. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the one we do. We import. I thought it was right there. Import form data. Oh, did I not do this right? Oh, maybe I have to export all the form data. Output a specific file.
So you want to find the file that you created and then display.
Yeah, but I just imported that file that I created.
Yeah.
Use the file name. No records were added, or the input was empty. So maybe I did this wrong. Learning moment as always.
Well, it looked like when you do the export again, you have to select the range. So cancel that and generate the form. So there's selection range. You got to pick something.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, I do have to pick something. And I got to set the date and time, all that. Let's set the time to
1400.
Well, it's 8 till
okay. Yeah.
There. That should cover us. Generate the CSV file. Okay. Exit, close. Let's check that CSV file. Minimize, minimize, minimize. It should be out here on my desktop.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that.
So let me resend this to everyone. So let me come back up here, copy this magical list of everybody's call sign, and back over to our message. I'm going to make a new message. I'm going to address it to a couple people. Paste. Here we go. Subject. It helps when you have the right keyboard selected. WaveTalkers check-in. And attach. Add. Here's that file. Open.
9.8 kilobytes. That's a nice size.
Not too bad. Check the map. And post to Outbox. And I will send that via the quickest method, via Telnet. Go ahead and start. And hopefully that goes out. Oh, look, there's more people coming in. Oh, these are some undeliverables, but that's okay. There we go. So while that's going out, takes a second to send an email, send a Winlink message out to a lot of people. A lot of people are saying they got it. All right, now let's try and do this again. Now let's see if the demo gods are with us. See if we can get a demo that's going to work today for us. Come on now. Generate map, import form data, use that form, and it's still telling me no. Was anyone else able to do that, or is it just me? Anybody in the chat able to import that file? And let's see if it's working. Again, this is a brand new feature that just came out, so nothing like crashing and burning on a demo.
Chris, I didn't get it, but maybe while we're waiting for someone to download it, how would you, if you're net control, why would you want to send an Excel sheet back out to your troops?
To give situational awareness would be one thought right away. Let
Right.
everybody, because one of the things with Winlink is it's one-to-one. It's not a one-to-many kind of communication. So
Right.
if I'm net control and I say everybody check in to me, then I get all of the information, but no one else on the team knows that. Now, if you're using something such as M-beams, where you can broadcast, you're essentially broadcasting a message out, and anyone who's listening with NBeams could be able to capture the data. It's a smaller regional kind of setup there. But with Winlink, it's you're sending it to an email. I see Andy is saying he was able to open it. Andy, are you able to share your screen if I promote you up there?
Yeah, I didn't get the message either, but also remember too, while it is point to point, you still have the ability to address it to multiple people. So as an individual, you
Right.
can still send one to many and have it go out to, any number of recipients, whether you push it to them or you set up for a peer-to-peer connection and they come pull it down as needed in a net situation.
Or I can think of another use. If you're a net control station and you're sitting with the sheriff's office or a hospital or a local EMS agency or something like that, you could actually hand them this Excel spreadsheet. Here's the report from the troops in the field. Here's what they see. Their situational awareness, pretty powerful thing, I think.
Perfect. And here's Andy. He is sharing the screen. Andy, did you unmute your mic? Are you able to?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Excellent. So you got all of the data. Were you able to import this in Winlink?
I downloaded the message and all I did was open the attachment and it opened it straight up into Excel.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So you have it downloaded. Then if you close that Excel spreadsheet that you downloaded and open up your Winlink, and then as Chris is showing you, you go in and you have to import from data to the right. No, on that last screen, Chris. So on that screen there to the right, on the other right, there's a button that says import from data. And you can import, if you click that, then it'll allow you to navigate to that form, to that data that you downloaded, and that'll allow you to share that map.
Yeah, it's still telling me not.
Chris,
Yeah,
you
but
can't do
we
it.
get
but
the idea. We get the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is just such a powerful new device. And I think we'll see the Winlink development team moving in this direction. And do think about this in your own emergency communications group, wherever you are. That's a very powerful tool that you can use in the field. And remember, You can send it by Telnet. You can send it by RF. You can do a combination of all of the above to serve your served agency as best as you can. Really powerful stuff.
Excellent. So that kind of wraps up, I think, the content that we had. We were talking about Digipeating. We showed the new mapping feature. We had the great demo from Orv. We'll take just a moment here and remind everyone that if you go to WaveTalkers and you navigate up here to the resources section, you can come down here and you'll find the Winlink link right there. That will take you to this page. And you'll notice that some other videos have been posted, the PDFs. A lot of folks have been asking about the PDFs. Those are all there. And there's links to them up here. If you click on, say, the VARA FM from K6OLI, it'll go ahead and download that for you and open it up right there. You can also get to it as those new items disappear, VARA FM. And there's a link to that PDF right there. The other ones, the ones from Orv, will also be up here. And that actually wraps up the content for the course that we were going to do. A couple of other quick things. One, we have offered this course completely for free to everyone. We have added a link to buy me a coffee here if you would like to support us and support the course and support what we're doing on WaveTalkers, to be able to have that continue to be open and free for everyone. And we are going to have an after party for everyone who's here in the Zoom. And one more thing, would there be any interest in us continuing to do this again next week? We were talking about going into APRS. If that sounds like an interesting thing, go ahead and let us know in the chat. And I believe we're planning on, we're seeing some yeses coming in the chat. So I think we will next week, same bat time, same bat channel, do a little walkthrough of APRS and spend some time doing that. We'll show you pinpoint APRS and how you can use that for EmComm work. And with that, anything else from my esteemed colleagues? Let me bring you guys back up to screen here so that everybody can see us. We'll add the other spotlights.
Chris, we just want to thank you for extending WaveTalkers for this purpose. And we're not done packing that with content. I have at least a half dozen short videos to produce, and Orv gave us another one today. So these, rather than sitting through a 60 to 90 minute class in its entirety, if you need to know, how do I connect to the mesh using Winlink? Well, you're going to have a 3 to 4 minute explanation of that. And I think that's really valuable. Don't be shy with your questions after this class, or even in this class in our after session. That's why we're here. I think we all feel that we've lacked just a little bit the individual touch that we've had with our past classes, but just know that we're here for you. You know our call letters and how to reach out to us.
Reach-wise, we have reached quite far with this new format that we've been doing here. So we initially asked to have, thank you. We just got somebody just bought us a coffee. We started off to say we can take 300 people, and that filled up really quickly. So we decided to live stream it out to all the different platforms as well. Since then, we've reached about 33 countries and about 1,600 people with this class thus far. So we think it's been pretty successful, and we certainly will continue doing that. Dan, NR6V, anything from you before we wrap up the live stream portion?
No, I was just going to mention about gateways.
Oh, right. Poof, I completely forgot.
We've had several people have contacted us and we don't have any gateways in our area. Well, I was in that situation as well. I live in the San Fernando Valley, which is 1.5 million people, yet we had no gateways that we could reach. So I did a little research and found out it's really easy to have your own gateway. It requires downloading a couple pieces of free software, just like you did the Winlink program. It's in the same place. It's just under the sysop folder. And you download RMS Packet and RMS Relay. And it's pretty easy to set up. The biggest thing is you've got to promise that you'll have your gateway available as close to 24 hours a day as you can. And you have to have a pretty reliable internet connection. Nobody's sitting there saying, oh, you were down for an hour last week. It's all strictly, I think their attitude is any gateway that's up most of the time is better than one that doesn't exist. So it's very easy to do. You can easily get help setting your setup. The basic connections are exactly the same as for your Winlink client. It just is going to be one that you need to have probably some battery backup for the PC. A lot of us are using the little 5-inch square little micro PCs. They work just fine. Doesn't take a lot of computing power. The nice thing about those is that a lot of those run on 12 volts natively. So it's very easy to come up with David's showing one there. It's very easy to come up with a battery backup for that. They don't draw a lot of power. The radio would be the biggest draw there. And, with a signal link, pretty much any VHF or UHF, we even have a 220 gateway in Ventura County, and I'm working on setting up a 220 connection on my gateway. So if you don't have a gateway in your area, be a pioneer and set one up. And mine, immediately after I started it, within a day or two, I was getting just tons of connections. Within a week, Dave Goldenberg started his gateway. I see Ron Newman is on here. Ron started one. So we now have 3 in the Valley. And pretty much anybody in the San Fernando Valley now can connect to a gateway. And using Digipeating, we can get all over Southern California. So highly recommend that you think about doing that. And of course, you can contact us and we can help you if you're having any issues. But it really is quite simple to do. That's my piece.
Excellent. Dave, W0DHG. And I would like to mention that Dave certainly stepped up a lot. There was a really good chance that I was not going to make it back for today's show. And so he spent a lot of time on the online with me yesterday, learning how to make all of this magic happen so that he would be able to drive this. And he's been behind the scenes driving a lot of this today for us. So much appreciated. Thank you very much, Dave, for that. Anything wrapping up from you?
No, I'd echo what Dan said. I started about 2 years ago on Winlink as a newbie, sat through a class that one of the local hams, Oliver K6OLA, came to our live Aries meeting, and I kind of felt like drinking from the fire hose, didn't quite get it, kind of made it work, but not really. But then as we went to this kind of lockdown and Zoom world, started taking some of his classes, and as Dan said, shortly after he got his gateway up, I got my gateway up, and kind of no looking back. In addition to, as Dan mentioned, battery power for your radio and the PC, you want to make sure you have battery power for your internet connection as well. That'll keep it up as long as the internet service provider has their stuff backed up, and it'll extend you out a little bit more. And we've had some power outages here in my part of the valley, and I was able to keep my gateway going for about 6 or 8 hours after the power went out.
One of the things that I saw on the Ventura County Rat Pack presentation, they have one of their gateways has a Starlink connection. Mm-hmm. So they have satellite, so they pretty bulletproof in terms of their internet connection.
Yeah, absolutely. It is worthwhile, and I hope we never have to use it in a time of need, but it's there, and we make it available for anyone to use pretty much any time, and that's part of the life of the sysop. You know, you get it up and you don't just set it and forget it. I check mine every day or a couple times a day, make sure it's up and it's running and it's working. But it's a great service to your community. Back to you, W6H from W0DHG.
Thank you. Orv, anything from you as final wrap up thoughts here? Thank you for an amazing presentation too.
Oh, you're welcome. I learned a few new things myself, and I got a few little notes to send to Oliver about the lack of mesh mentioning and some of the new mesh gear, but I'll pass that along to him. We're pretty well set up with mesh networking on the West Coast. There are a lot of places in the States and the world where they're not for various reasons. If there's any groups out there are interested and getting a presentation, just drop me a note. We can set something up.
Perfect. Yeah, Orv does some absolutely amazing deep dive presentations, walking through getting a lot of people set up on the mesh and getting whole new areas connected.
I think he mentioned earlier that prior to the pandemic, he'd done a little more than a handful of presentations, but since then he's done like 50 all around the country by Zoom. So yeah, he's highly recommended as a speaker for your club or your group.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Well, with that, I will say thank you. And we've had several people have just bought us coffee, so we really appreciate that. It will certainly help keep the lights on because this is a lot of infrastructure to keep up and running and get all of this out there. So with that, I will say thanks to everyone who joined on all of the live streams. Anyone who's inside of the Zoom, please hang around. We're going to open up the mics and open up the cameras to have the Q&A, the more detailed Q&A session at this point to kind of go through that. So with that, I will say 7-3 to everyone who's out there on the live streams, and we'll click around until I find the windows that actually have those so I could turn those off. Let's see where they're at.
So to confirm, we will be back next week, same time, same.
Yes, we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll even use the same Zoom. So the folks who came in on the Zoom, you can do that. For folks that are out there who want to join in the Zoom, send me a message to Winlink at WaveTalkers.com, and we'll see if we can get you in. So somewhere in here, I've got the Vimeo link that I can shut down. Let me start with we're going to say goodbye to LinkedIn. Anybody who's joining us on LinkedIn, thank you very much. Say bye to everyone on YouTube.